It is garden style apartment. It has very large floor plans, and that was one thing that really attracted us. Had some amenities, had a pool, had physical property. Calling it a B- asset, built in 1980. Utility breakdown, which is always an important part, is what we're looking for, is that utilities are being paid, electric's by the tenant, water and sewer is by the landlord, and then some of the amenities has a pool, a playground, a clubhouse, and the corridors are exterior and covered. Not so much of a big deal. Also, it goes more in line with a lot of these areas, is that roof replacements can be a very expensive thing for a large multifamily. So we always look at what kind of roofs it is. If this was in the Northeast, we'd probably be a little more, we wouldn't want flat roofs, but in this point, this is a pitched hard new shingle roof. So they'd actually put the money into replacing a lot of the CapEx, it looks like. So get back here and go through some of the property information, see how the breakdown actually splits up. So 100 plus units split across 10 buildings. This is just giving us aerial view. And now we're going to get into the financials. What stood out to us here again was that there was only 6 months available. So we don't have a track record really past the 6 months of how this property has been performing under these managements, because you can do a lot of things as an owner where if you get into a property and you find that maybe the occupancy has jumped substantially, there could be a lot of instances where an owner knows that he's going to be looking to sell. So what they're going to do is they're going to push in any tenant they can get into the property, and they may not be the tenants that you want to take on, meaning that they may fudge the tenant base. So you may have a 98% tenant occupied building, take over the building to realize of that 98%, your effective occupancy is only 80% because you have a lot of poor tenants who are in the property who are not currently paying or not paying on time, or a number of different aspects that can bring down the property. But this is what sellers will do to make the property look more appealing if they're going to push it off this quickly. Looking for just shy of $40,000 per unit. We had looked at a number of different comps in the area. We know that this is right on the high end for the same kind of property in this area. Is that 25,000 to 40,000 is where those assets had been trading recently. So what we did to really get more context on this is that besides being able to look at comps and pull data, is we asked for referrals from the broker for property managers. And we spoke to a couple of property managers in the area. And generally, I wanted to get a sense about where this property was situated street by street. Because if I have a B-class property and I'm surrounded by D-class properties, I'm probably going to have a very difficult time improving my property or taking my property to a new level, because I'm going to be at the mercy of all those surrounding properties. However, if I have a B- property in a B area, well, then I have very strong drivers that can push us where I can improve this property. Maybe I can get rent premiums of $25. Maybe I can add amenities, some storage or some outside space or dog park, or many different things that can make this a more attractive B property and increase the class. So you need to pay attention to what type of property you have. Most importantly, what area is this? And am I on the path of progress? Meaning, are the highways being improved this direction? Is there building coming in this direction? Or is there other sources of job sources that are in the area? What's driving this apartment? Who's going to be my renter or my tenant base in this? So this is some of the high level things we'll look at before we get into the property. The thing that I always like to look at before I even get into rent and income and anything else is that I want to know what it costs me to operate the unit per unit on a yearly basis. So one of the first questions I said to the property manager is that if I have a property where the utility breakdown was on this point, it was not an all owners paid property, the tenants are paying a portion of the utilities, what could I conservatively expect to spend per month or per year per unit? And they came back that for this type of class property, that it would look around $3,500. I felt that was a little light. We generally go between $3,800 and $4,200 per property. But that said, that's what he gave us. And so I still plugged in my number of $3,800 into this. What stood out is that if I was looking here at the expenses, their expenses, the property managers tell me 3,500. However, the property is telling me that they are operating currently at 3,000. So right there, it's going to be a red flag for me, because I'm going to realize that I'm going to have to operate this property. It's just, maybe they are operating this. Maybe they're forgetting to add in a lot of things. Maybe they're forgetting to add in landscaping. Maybe they have a maintenance person that jumps from different complexes they own, and they're not actually delegating all the expense to this unit. Maybe they're just forgetting a lot of things, or they're just neglecting to put them in here. What happened here is, it seems as if they are actually managing this as an owner operator. So they're leaving out that management cost. Well, that's just part of it. So right there, day one, I'm going to take it over. I'm going to use third-party management. So I'm going to have to add that cost in there. So they're giving us that if we're using their gross income annualized based on their T6 reports, it's about 750,000. And then they're taking their expenses, which is roughly about 320,000. They're giving us a net operating income right about $250,000.